Okay, so my name is Hafiz. I'm a software engineer. I've been in the industry for about 5, 6, 7 years at this point, and that includes my internship while I was in school. I've worked at companies ranging from Cisco to Nintendo to Microsoft. And at Microsoft, I've worked on a variety of products, including business software, OneDrive Mobile, and Xbox. So I go to a lot of career fairs. I've gone to some schools, and in general, in passing in life, I've met a lot of individuals who are interested in getting into software engineering, and they have questions about how to interact with a recruiter. And by recruiter, when I talk about recruiter in this video, I don't just mean a recruiter specifically, but also engineers that you meet when you're at career fairs that attend these conferences in your school career fair to recruit for certain software engineering roles and PM roles as well. But most of my experience is software engineering roles when I've actually gone there and tried to seek a role, but I've recruited for both software engineering and PM roles. So I've wanted to do these videos for a while, but when I was at the Richard Tapia conference last week in Orlando, I kind of, got that inspiration to just go ahead and do it because, I got a lot of questions and I answer these questions for people. So I figured why not make a video and put it somewhere where people can find it. So I'm currently actually in Houston right now for the Grace Hopper celebration of women in computing, which explains why I'm sitting here in this hotel room. But you can ignore that for now. So I'll just go ahead and jump in. I'll be releasing these videos fairly frequently in the future, just covering a variety of topics, including how to actually prepare for tech interviews as well. I've done a variety of those, so I have some advice that I can give, some tips and tricks. Yeah, feel free to share this with your friends, anybody that you think can benefit, and subscribe for future videos that I'll post in the future. So the first thing, number one, your elevator pitch. Now, your elevator pitch at a career fair might be slightly different than your elevator pitch in general, but basically it's just a summary of yourself. It's who you are, what you want to do, what you're looking for, and why the company essentially should care about you on a professional level, right? What I like to do is maybe say, hi, my name is Hafiz, back when I was in school. Hi, my name is Hafiz. I'm a third year at UC Davis, and I'm looking for a software engineering role with your company. Just something short, something that just summarizes who you are and gives me a quick picture of what you want to do and why you're here at the career fair. If this elevator pitch can also be used outside of a career fair, you probably want to add a little bit more information and merge it with the next thing that I'm going to mention, which is number two, your interests. So basically, you need to know what you're interested in, right? A lot of times I recruit and I ask people, so what are you interested in? And they're not really sure. They say, just software engineering in general or program management in general, right? And I'm like, okay, that's fair. But it definitely helps if you know what you're interested in, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to help you find something that will, be in line with what you're interested in. And that's what the recruiters are also trying to do once we get, the resumes and all of that back to them. So it definitely helps if you can say, hey, I'm interested in A or B or whatever, right? And then they can actually go and help you find a team that is aligned with your interests. Another thing that's important is to make sure that you research the company and know what they have available, right? Because if I'm talking to, like, say, a Microsoft or a Sony or some other company, right? And I'm like, hey, I'm interested in gaming, right? Okay, they do gaming. That's great. It works out. But if I go to, like, Kaiser or something, right, and it's their, their tech department and they're recruiting and they're like, hey, and I go to them and I'm like, hey, I'm interested in gaming, then they're basically going to say, we don't do that here. So it's not really going to work, So you need to make sure that you know about the available roles. Know if you're interested in, like, program management or something, right? Know that some companies have program management, some have product management, some have project management, right? Know the differences between them. And I mean, if you have questions, feel free to ask. Never feel like, oh my gosh, I can't ask questions. Don't let yourself feel intimidated, because at the end of the day, you're speaking with other individuals, and on the job, you're going to need to ask questions and interact with individuals. So make sure that you're comfortable doing that. The next thing, number three, projects, right? So I typically ask this question, what projects have you worked on, right? And a lot of times people will tell me projects they've worked on in school. That's not necessarily bad, right? If you've worked on a project in school, it's a pretty involved project, it's a cool project, and you're passionate about it, awesome, tell me about it. But please tell me what you did, right? Don't tell me what your partners did. I mean, you can summarize the whole project, you can summarize what your partners did, but make sure that it's a project where you did a lot, right? Something that you can really go into detail and give me an in-depth explanation of what you worked on, from a technical standpoint, because that really shows me that communicates your skills, right? Not the skills of your group members, right? Um, but what I like to see even more than just school projects is personal projects, right? Because a lot of times when I recruit, I actually see a lot of the same school project, right? I went and I recruited at my school, and a lot of people were telling me, hey, I worked on this project in this class, like data structures and algorithm class. Um, and I said, okay, that's cool. The first person came to me and told me that. The next person came to me and told me that. The third person, and so on. And at the end of that, I'm thinking, okay, that's cool. You did this project, but all of you did this project. And guess what? I too went to this school, so I also did this project. And it doesn't really make you stand out, you know? And this part is where you want to tell them something that makes you stand out, right? So, for example, I know people that have been in school, they've had some type of problem, right? And they decided to make an app to actually solve the problem. And I'm like, okay, that's awesome, because you saw a problem, you engineered a solution to this problem, and now people are benefiting from it. That actually stands out. I'm going to remember you, you know? So those are the types of people that I'm looking for when I'm actually recruiting at these career fairs. And personal projects show your passion, because I mean, school projects, you have to do them, right? Like if you're trying to pass, you have to actually do that project. Whereas with a personal project, it's on your own time, right? It's oh, hey, it was like, I don't know, Friday at 9 p.m. I could have been at the movies with friends, but I was at home working on a personal project. And I'm not just, hyping that up because, I used to do stuff like that, but I'm hyping it up because it's important. And it doesn't necessarily have to be on a Friday afternoon, right? Or Friday evening or whatever, right? But I'm just saying, in general, in your spare time, are you working on projects? Because it shows your passion for the field, and that's definitely what we're looking for, part of what we're looking for, in addition to like the skills and your ability to work with others when we're recruiting the next top talent. So another thing is interviews. A lot of people will ask me, okay, well, how do I get an interview? And a thing you have to keep in mind is, yes, sometimes at these career fairs, people are interviewing. Sometimes it's scheduled in advance, but sometimes it just doesn't hurt to ask. Go in and be confident and make sure you prepare and ask for an interview. After having a conversation with the engineer and selling yourself, basically say, hey, I really think I can bring a lot to the table. I know you're doing interviews here, or even if you can't get them scheduled for the conference itself, try to get them scheduled in the future and say, hey, can I do that? And a lot of times they'll say, you know what? Yeah, sure, right? If they have openings or if they have availabilities. And sometimes they won't. But the key is, don't get discouraged, because if they say no, it's not necessarily, indicative of your, a lack of skill on your part. It's just that there is a method to things, right? And sometimes they're just not interviewing there. Sometimes they have interviews, but they have to plan them out. They have to, find the people that are actually going to conduct the interviews, right? So just make sure you're patient and make sure you follow up if you're able to get the recruiter's information or the engineer's information. Reach out to them. If you don't hear back right away, also don't get discouraged, because I can speak for myself and probably some other engineers. We get a lot of emails. We get really busy, right? Just with work stuff in general. And we also have other people reaching out to us. So sometimes it takes time. But I know when somebody follows up with me, right? If you don't hear for the first time, follow up maybe a week or two later. If I see somebody following up with me, I think, oh snap, I need to get back to this person. I forgot, let me reach out to this person. And we're not ignoring you. It's just that things get really busy. So just make sure that you do follow up and you don't get discouraged. And during that time, make sure you continue to prepare. And also, when you get the interview, don't use that as an opportunity to think, oh, hey, I'm set, I'm good, I don't need to prepare anymore. That's when you should be thinking, all right, awesome. Now let me continue grinding. Let me continue preparing until let me see this through basically. Let me make sure I'm ready now that I have this opportunity. So just to summarize, the first one was your elevator pitch, right? Summary of yourself essentially. The second one, which can be merged sometimes into your elevator pitch, is your interests, right? Make sure beforehand, before the career fair, you actually research the company, know about the openings, know about the different roles they have available, and what products they work on that align with your interests. And then, nice segue into that part is knowing what your interests are. And you don't have to know 100% what you want to do, but it does help to have an idea of, hey, I want to work on this product, or I want to work on, AI or whatever, right? Knowing, just having some type of idea. The next thing is projects. If you're going to talk about a school project, this is number 3, right? If you're going to talk about a school project, make sure that you can talk about what you did and that it's a pretty significant part of the project. Also have some personal projects if possible, and make sure that you know about, you can answer questions about the design, about the implementation, and just questions about things that stumped you, right? You don't always have to have the answer, even if it's something that you started working on but you didn't actually finish. You can still talk about it, right? You can say, hey, I started working on this, and just tell them what you're thinking about. If you had some problem, whether you've already overcome it or not, you can tell them about it, and then tell them what you tried to overcome it if you didn't overcome it. And if you did successfully overcome it, that's good. And tell them, what you did. But at the end of the day, just remember that when you're talking to, some of these folks, it's a conversation amongst engineers, basically, right? Unless, it's just a general recruiter. But even then, right, it's a conversation. So feel free to ask questions. Don't feel like you're getting grilled. Even if you're at the interview later, right, you make it to that stage, it's a conversation. So make sure that you're actually asking your own set of questions to make sure it's a place that you want to work, right? And a place that you feel like you'll be valued and you'll be able to contribute as much as you would like to. So, with that said, I think that about wraps this video up. Like I said earlier, I'm going to continue to be making videos like this. I'll probably have some in the future about, okay, well, once you get that interview, now how do you prepare? What do you do? Like, I have this interview with this company. How do I get ready? Right? So I'll have more videos in the future. Remember, like and subscribe, share it with your friends, ring the bell for notifications, all of that stuff, And I'll see you soon.